Do you know what the biggest enemy of success is? It's not failure. It's the fear of failure. It makes you hesitate, miss opportunities, and live a safe but regretful life. But today, I'm going to show you how to crush that fear and turn it into the fuel that drives you to the success you truly deserve. When most people hear the word failure, they immediately feel a sting of fear, shame, or even paralysis. It's almost instinctive. Society has conditioned us to view failure as something final, a judgment on our worth, a verdict that says, you weren't good enough. But if we truly want to overcome the fear of failure, the very first step is to redefine what failure actually means. Instead of seeing it as an endpoint, we need to see it as a stepping stone, an inevitable and essential part of growth. Think about it. Every breakthrough in history was preceded by countless failed attempts. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb on his first try. In fact, he is said to have gone through more than 1,000 prototypes before one finally worked. When someone asked him how he felt about failing so many times, his reply was profound. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. This perspective shift is what separates those who are crushed by setbacks from those who use them as fuel. Redefining failure begins with recognizing that it is not a permanent label attached to your identity. You are not your mistakes. You are not your unsuccessful attempts. You are a dynamic, evolving human being who is constantly learning, adapting, and improving. Failure is simply feedback. It tells you what didn't work, where the gaps are, and what adjustments are necessary. Imagine you are learning to ride a bicycle as a child. You fall dozens of times, scraping your knees, wobbling from side to side. Did anyone ever tell you, you failed as a cyclist, so give up? No, because falling was part of the process. Eventually, with each attempt, you improved your balance until one day you were riding freely. Strangely, as adults, we forget this truth. We start treating every fall as a verdict rather than a lesson, and that distorted perception is what keeps us paralyzed in fear. Another important way to redefine failure is to separate the event from the interpretation. Failure itself is neutral. It is just an outcome. The meaning we attach to it determines how it affects us. For example, if you apply for a job and don't get it, you might interpret that as, I'm not talented enough, I'll never succeed. But another person could interpret the exact same situation as, this job wasn't the right fit, but now I know how to improve my application for next time. Both individuals experienced the same event, but one turned it into a story of defeat while the other turned it into motivation. The event didn't dictate the future, the interpretation did. When we allow failure to define us, we limit our potential. Think of how many brilliant ideas have died simply because someone was too afraid to risk looking foolish. How many businesses were never started? How many books never written? How many inventions never shared with the world because their creators convinced themselves that failure was unacceptable? Redefining failure means reclaiming the courage to act despite uncertainty, knowing that setbacks are not signs of weakness, but stepping stones to resilience. Every great achievement carries a hidden trail of failed experiments behind it, invisible to the public eye. What we celebrate as overnight success is usually the end result of years of trial and error. There's also a liberating truth in accepting that failure is universal. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what you pursue, you will encounter it. This realization can be strangely comforting. You are not alone, and your struggles are not unique. From athletes to artists to entrepreneurs, everyone has failed at something. Michael Jordan, considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, once admitted, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. His greatness didn't come from avoiding failure, it came from embracing it. Another way to reframe failure is to look at it as a teacher. Each failed attempt gives you data. What didn't work, why it didn't work, and what might work better next time. This data is invaluable. It accelerates your growth far more than success does. Success can sometimes mislead us into thinking we have mastered everything, when in fact, we might just have been lucky. Failure, on the other hand, strips away illusions and forces us to confront reality. It is the sharpest and most honest teacher we can have if we are willing to listen. When you adopt this mindset, failure becomes less frightening because you start to see it as an ally rather than an enemy. Of course, redefining failure also requires us to release the pressure of perfectionism. Many people fear failure because they set impossible standards for themselves. They believe that unless they achieve flawless results, they are worthless. This all-or-nothing mentality creates unnecessary fear and prevents them from even starting. But the truth is, no one expects perfection. Not your colleagues, not your friends, not even the world at large. What people admire is not perfection, but persistence, authenticity, and courage. By letting go of the need to be perfect, you free yourself to experiment, to try, and to fail forward. To make this practical, try this exercise. Take a moment to write down your biggest recent failure. Then, instead of writing it as a story of loss, reframe it as a story of learning. Ask yourself, what did this teach me? How did it make me stronger? How will it help me in the future? By rewriting the narrative, you literally reprogram your brain to see failure differently. Over time, this practice builds resilience and reduces the emotional weight of setbacks. Ultimately, overcoming the fear of failure starts with embracing the paradox. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. You cannot have one without the other. Success is built on a foundation of failed attempts, lessons learned, and resilience gained. By redefining failure as feedback, as a teacher, and as an essential step in your journey, you rob it of its power to paralyze you. Instead of running from failure, you begin to see it as an invitation to grow. And once you make that mental shift, fear no longer holds you captive. You become free to take risks, to pursue bold dreams, and to live a life driven by growth rather than fear. Shifting your mindset is the next crucial step in overcoming the fear of failure. While redefining failure helps you see it differently, it is your mindset, the collection of beliefs, attitudes, and habits of thought that ultimately determines how you respond when faced with challenges. Many people operate with what psychologist Carol Dweck calls a fixed mindset, the belief that intelligence, talent, and ability are static traits. In a fixed mindset, failure is interpreted as evidence that you are not good enough, leading to avoidance, self-doubt, and stagnation. Conversely, cultivating a growth mindset allows you to view failure as an opportunity for learning, improvement, and long-term success. A growth mindset fundamentally changes your relationship with failure. Instead of fearing mistakes, you approach them as experiments that provide valuable feedback. You understand that skills and knowledge are not fixed, but can be developed through effort, practice, and persistence. This mindset fosters resilience, encouraging you to face challenges head-on rather than retreating in fear. The most successful individuals often share this approach. They embrace setbacks as essential components of the learning process rather than as indicators of inadequacy. By internalizing this belief, you can reduce the anxiety associated with failure and increase your willingness to take calculated risks. One of the first practical steps to shift your mindset is to challenge self-limiting beliefs. Take note of recurring thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," "I can't do this," or "I'll never succeed." These automatic assumptions fuel the fear of failure. Instead of accepting them as truths, question their validity. Ask yourself, what evidence supports this thought? What evidence contradicts it? By critically examining these beliefs, you begin to weaken their power over your emotions and behavior. Over time, this practice rewires your thinking patterns, making it easier to approach challenges with confidence rather than fear. Another critical aspect of mindset shifting is to embrace effort as a path to mastery. Many people mistakenly believe that talent alone guarantees success, while effort is tedious or secondary. In reality, effort is the bridge between potential and achievement. By valuing consistent effort over immediate outcomes, you reduce the pressure to be perfect and the fear of making mistakes. Each attempt becomes a step toward growth, and setbacks are recognized as part of the journey rather than signs of failure. This perspective nurtures perseverance and helps maintain motivation, even when progress seems slow or results are delayed. Visualization techniques can also be powerful in reinforcing a growth-oriented mindset. By mentally rehearsing challenges and imagining yourself navigating setbacks successfully, you train your brain to respond with composure rather than panic. Visualization strengthens neural pathways associated with confidence and problem-solving, making it more likely that you will act decisively when confronted with real-world obstacles. Additionally, combining visualization with affirmations, short positive statements like, "I grow through challenges," or "Mistakes teach me valuable lessons," can further cement a resilient, growth-focused mindset. It is equally important to learn to reframe criticism and feedback. People with a fixed mindset often interpret critique as a personal attack, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy and heightening the fear of failure. However, those with a growth mindset view feedback as a tool for improvement. By asking yourself, "How can I use this information to improve?" you shift the focus from self-judgment to constructive action. This reframing reduces the emotional sting of criticism, making you more adaptable and open to learning. Over time, embracing feedback accelerates skill development and builds confidence, creating a virtuous cycle of growth. Mindset shifting also requires adopting a long-term perspective on success. Immediate setbacks or disappointments may feel like failure in the moment, but in the broader context of your life, They are minor events. By considering the bigger picture, you prevent temporary obstacles from overwhelming you. Successful people often view their careers, projects, and personal growth as marathons rather than sprints. They understand that short-term struggles are necessary for long-term achievements, and this perspective reduces the fear that failure is permanent or catastrophic. Another effective strategy is to surround yourself with growth-minded influences. The attitudes and beliefs of those around you profoundly affect your mindset. Seek mentors, peers, and communities that value learning, experimentation, and resilience. Observe how they handle setbacks and emulate their approaches. Positive reinforcement and shared experiences can significantly accelerate the internalization of a growth mindset, making it easier to approach challenges without fear. Additionally, shifting your mindset involves embracing curiosity and experimentation. Instead of asking, "Will I fail?" ask, "What can I learn from trying this?" Or, "What new possibilities can emerge if I attempt this?" Curiosity reframes challenges as opportunities to explore, discover, and grow. It transforms fear into excitement and replaces the paralysis of doubt with proactive engagement. This mindset encourages risk-taking, not reckless risk, but informed, intentional steps toward progress, which is essential for personal and professional development. Finally, shifting your mindset is not a one-time adjustment, it is a continuous practice. Your brain is wired to seek patterns, and old fear-driven thought patterns will occasionally resurface. When they do, it is crucial to recognize these moments without judgment and consciously choose growth-oriented thoughts. Journaling, reflection, and mindfulness practices can help reinforce this habit, making a growth mindset increasingly automatic over time. In conclusion, shifting your mindset from a fixed perspective to a growth-oriented one is a transformative step in overcoming the fear of failure. By viewing challenges as opportunities to learn, effort as a path to mastery, and feedback as a tool for improvement, you develop resilience, confidence, and adaptability. This shift enables you to approach risks and uncertainties with curiosity and courage, rather than anxiety and avoidance. Over time, the fear of failure diminishes, replaced by a sense of empowerment that fuels continuous growth and the pursuit of meaningful goals. Once you have redefined failure and shifted your mindset, the next critical step in overcoming the fear of failure is to prepare effectively and take small, manageable steps. Fear often arises not from the act of attempting itself, but from the perception of being unprepared or facing a goal that feels overwhelmingly large. When challenges appear insurmountable, the mind responds with anxiety, hesitation, and sometimes outright avoidance. By breaking down your objectives into achievable steps and preparing thoroughly, you can reduce this fear and gain confidence in your ability to succeed. Preparation begins with clarifying your goals and expectations. Many people fear failure because they set vague or unrealistic targets such as, "I must be perfect," or "I need to succeed immediately." Such expectations are inherently stressful and make the prospect of failure appear catastrophic. Instead, clearly define what you want to accomplish and set realistic, measurable objectives. For example, instead of aiming to master a new skill overnight, focus on completing the first module or task. Clear, specific goals reduce uncertainty, which is a major trigger for fear, and provide a roadmap that guides your actions. Once your goals are defined, the next step is to break them into small, manageable actions. Large goals often feel intimidating because the brain perceives them as high-stakes challenges. By dividing them into incremental steps, each task becomes approachable and progress becomes visible. This approach not only reduces fear, but also creates a sense of momentum. Completing small tasks successfully builds confidence, which in turn reduces anxiety about future larger tasks. For instance, if your goal is to launch a business, your first step might be conducting market research, followed by creating a business plan and then testing a minimum viable product. Each step is a controlled experiment that provides learning opportunities while minimizing risk. Preparation also involves anticipating potential obstacles. Fear often emerges when you feel blindsided or unprepared for challenges. By proactively considering what might go wrong and developing contingency plans, you increase your sense of control. This doesn't mean obsessing over every possible failure, but rather creating flexible strategies that allow you to respond calmly and effectively. For example, if you're preparing for a public presentation, practicing multiple scenarios or having backup materials ready can reduce the fear of unexpected problems. Equally important is the practice of gradual exposure to challenging situations. Avoidance reinforces fear, while gradual, repeated exposure helps desensitize your anxiety response. Start with tasks that are slightly outside your comfort zone and progressively increase the difficulty. Each successful attempt strengthens your confidence and reduces the perceived threat of failure. This principle applies across domains, whether learning a new skill, public speaking, or taking professional risks. Over time, what once seemed intimidating becomes manageable, and your fear diminishes naturally. Preparation also includes gathering the necessary resources and knowledge. Fear often stems from a sense of inadequacy or lack of competence. By investing time in learning, practicing, and equipping yourself with the right tools, you increase your readiness and self-assurance. This preparation can involve studying relevant material, seeking guidance from experts, or rehearsing skills until they become second nature. The more competent you feel, the less paralyzing fear becomes, because you know you are capable of handling challenges effectively. Another key element is building a realistic timeline. Many people fear failure because they pressure themselves to achieve everything immediately. When time feels limited, mistakes seem catastrophic. Creating a timeline that allows for incremental progress, experimentation, and learning reduces stress and keeps fear in check. It also reinforces the understanding that success is a journey, not a race, and that each step, regardless of outcome, contributes to long-term growth. Psychologically, preparing and taking small steps shifts your focus from fear to action. Fear thrives in anticipation, feeding on uncertainty and what-if scenarios. When you actively engage in concrete tasks, your attention moves from imagined failure to tangible progress. This shift is empowering. You realize that taking action is more productive than ruminating on potential mistakes. Action generates feedback, which informs your next steps and strengthens your confidence, creating a positive cycle of growth and learning. To reinforce this approach, consider tracking your progress and celebrating small wins. Each completed step is evidence that you can act despite fear. Recording these achievements, no matter how minor, serves as a reminder of your capability and resilience. This practice builds momentum, encourages persistence, and gradually diminishes the fear associated with larger, more complex goals. It is also beneficial to reflect on past experiences where preparation and incremental action led to success. By recalling situations where small, deliberate steps allowed you to overcome challenges, you reinforce the belief that structured, gradual approaches work. This reflection not only strengthens confidence, but also provides practical insights for tackling new challenges. You begin to recognize patterns of effective behavior and apply them consistently, further reducing fear. Finally, remember that perfection is not the objective. Preparing thoroughly and taking small steps does not guarantee flawless execution. Instead, it equips you to handle challenges effectively and learn from any setbacks. Accepting that mistakes will happen allows you to approach each step with curiosity rather than dread. Over time, as you repeatedly take action in a controlled, prepared manner, your fear of failure diminishes, replaced by a sense of competence, resilience, and empowerment. In conclusion, preparation and incremental action are powerful antidotes to the fear of failure. By clarifying goals, breaking tasks into manageable steps, anticipating obstacles, gradually exposing yourself to challenges and focusing on actionable progress rather than perfection, you gain control over fear and transform it into productive energy. Each small step forward builds confidence, resilience, and momentum, ultimately enabling you to pursue even ambitious goals without being paralyzed by fear. Through this disciplined approach, failure becomes less threatening, and the path to success becomes clearer, achievable, and far less intimidating. Managing emotions and anxiety is another essential step in overcoming the fear of failure. Even with a redefined understanding of failure, a growth mindset, and thorough preparation, fear can still manifest physically and emotionally. Anxiety, stress, and self-doubt often arise in anticipation of challenges or setbacks, creating a cycle where fear amplifies the likelihood of avoidance. Learning how to regulate these emotions and manage anxiety is critical because it allows you to act decisively, stay focused, and maintain resilience in the face of obstacles. One of the most effective ways to manage emotions is through mindfulness and deep breathing techniques. When fear arises, your body activates the fight or flight response, releasing stress hormones that can cloud judgment and impair decision-making. By practicing deep, conscious breathing, you signal to your body that it is safe to relax, lowering cortisol levels and calming the mind. Even a few minutes of mindful breathing before a challenging task, whether it's a presentation, an exam, or a difficult conversation, can significantly reduce anxiety and enhance focus. Over time, this practice conditions your nervous system to respond to fear with calmness rather than panic. Meditation and journaling are also powerful tools for emotional regulation. Meditation helps cultivate awareness of your thoughts and feelings, allowing you to observe fear without becoming overwhelmed by it. Journaling, on the other hand, provides a structured way to process emotions, reflect on triggers, and identify patterns in your thinking. Writing down your fears, along with potential solutions or positive reframing, transforms abstract anxiety into actionable insight. These practices increase emotional intelligence, enabling you to respond to fear constructively rather than react impulsively. Another critical strategy is to acknowledge and confront your fears directly rather than avoiding them. Avoidance may provide temporary relief, but it reinforces fear in the long term. By facing the situations you fear in controlled, deliberate ways, you gradually desensitize yourself to their emotional impact. Start with manageable challenges and progressively take on more difficult ones as your confidence grows. This approach, often referred to as exposure therapy in psychology, teaches your mind that fear is not a signal to retreat, but an invitation to act with courage. Each successful confrontation reduces anxiety, strengthens resilience, and weakens the power fear holds over you. In addition to direct confrontation, physical activity and exercise play a crucial role in managing stress and fear. Regular exercise reduces tension, boosts mood through endorphin release, and improves overall mental health. Even short periods of movement before tackling a stressful task can help regulate the body's stress response and improve performance. Activities such as running, yoga, or even brisk walking create a sense of control over your body and mind, which translates into greater confidence when facing potential failure. Cognitive techniques are equally important in managing emotions. Cognitive restructuring involves identifying negative thought patterns and replacing them with more balanced, constructive ones. For example, instead of thinking, "If I fail, it's the end," reframe the thought as, "If I fail, I'll gain valuable insights and know what to improve next time." This reframing reduces the emotional intensity of fear and encourages a problem-solving mindset. Over time, consistent use of cognitive techniques strengthens your ability to respond to fear rationally rather than reactively. Building emotional resilience also requires developing self-compassion. Fear often intensifies when we judge ourselves harshly for perceived inadequacies or mistakes. Treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend reduces the emotional burden of failure. Self-compassion fosters patience, reduces anxiety, and encourages a constructive response to setbacks rather than self-criticism or avoidance. When you accept that mistakes are a natural part of learning, fear loses much of its sting. Another valuable approach is to visualize successful navigation of challenges. Mental rehearsal allows you to imagine yourself responding calmly and effectively in situations that trigger fear. Visualization prepares your mind and body, building confidence and reducing the intensity of anxiety when the actual moment arrives. Combined with positive affirmations, such as, "I can handle challenges with courage," or "I learn and grow through each experience," this technique reinforces a mindset of control and resilience. Support systems play a crucial role in managing fear and anxiety. Sharing your fears with trusted friends, mentors, or coaches provides perspective, reassurance, and guidance. Others can offer encouragement, practical advice, or simply a listening ear, which helps reduce the sense of isolation that fear often creates. Emotional support strengthens confidence, enabling you to confront challenges more effectively and recover quickly from setbacks. Lastly, managing emotions and anxiety involves recognizing that fear is a natural, temporary response rather than a permanent state. Accepting that fear will appear periodically allows you to approach it with curiosity rather than panic. By observing fear without judgment, applying coping strategies, and taking deliberate action despite discomfort, you build emotional resilience. Over time, this practice diminishes the intensity of fear and enables you to operate with clarity, courage, and composure, even in high-pressure situations. In conclusion, learning to manage emotions and anxiety is a vital component of overcoming the fear of failure. Through mindfulness, deep breathing, meditation, journaling, cognitive reframing, self-compassion, physical activity, visualization, and support systems, you gain control over your emotional responses. By acknowledging fear, confronting it gradually, and practicing these techniques consistently, you reduce its power and create a mental environment conducive to action, learning, and growth. Mastery of your emotions transforms fear from a paralyzing force into a guide, enabling you to pursue your goals confidently and resiliently. The final step in overcoming the fear of failure is to build confidence and cultivate a strong support system. While mindset shifts, preparation, and emotional regulation equip you to face challenges, confidence provides the internal assurance that you can act despite fear. A robust support system complements this by offering encouragement, guidance, and accountability, creating an environment where failure is less intimidating and growth is reinforced. Confidence is not innate. It is developed through consistent practice and real-world experience. Every time you attempt something challenging, regardless of the outcome, you gain knowledge, skills, and evidence of your capabilities. This experiential learning builds self-assurance incrementally. For instance, public speakers often gain confidence not by reading about communication techniques, but by speaking repeatedly, learning from each presentation, and adjusting their approach over time. Similarly, entrepreneurs grow confident by launching projects, encountering setbacks, and refining their strategies. The key is to view each attempt as an opportunity to practice and improve, rather than a definitive measure of success or failure. Another method to bolster confidence is celebrating small victories. Many individuals overlook incremental progress, focusing only on major milestones. Yet, acknowledging even minor achievements reinforces the belief that you are capable of growth and success. Tracking accomplishments, completing tasks, learning new skills, or navigating difficult situations creates a tangible record of competence. Over time, this builds a reservoir of confidence that reduces the paralyzing fear of failure and encourages bolder actions. A strong support system is equally vital. Surround yourself with positive, growth-minded people, mentors, peers, colleagues, and friends who encourage you to take risks and view failure as a learning opportunity. These individuals can provide constructive feedback, emotional support, and guidance, helping you navigate challenges more effectively. The presence of a supportive community reduces the perceived stakes of failure and allows you to experiment and innovate with less anxiety. In contrast, negative or overly critical influences can exacerbate fear, making setbacks feel catastrophic. Choosing your environment wisely is therefore crucial to overcoming fear. Mentorship plays a particularly significant role in building confidence. A mentor who has faced similar challenges can share insights, offer strategies, and normalize setbacks, helping you see failure as part of a larger growth process. Mentors provide a roadmap that shortens the learning curve and gives you the reassurance that struggles are not indicative of permanent inadequacy. By learning from others' experiences, you gain both knowledge and emotional reinforcement, which collectively reduce fear and enhance confidence. It is also essential to practice self-validation. While external support is valuable, relying solely on others for reassurance can create dependency and limit personal growth. Self-validation involves acknowledging your efforts, strengths, and progress internally, rather than waiting for external approval. By consistently recognizing your capabilities, you reinforce your belief in yourself, making it easier to take risks and recover from setbacks. Combining self-validation with external support creates a balanced framework for sustained confidence. Building confidence also involves embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. When you step into new experiences with the intention of learning, failure becomes less threatening. Each challenge faced is evidence of courage and persistence, reinforcing self-belief. Over time, repeated exposure to challenges, coupled with reflection on lessons learned, strengthens resilience. Confidence grows not because setbacks disappear, but because you develop a track record of navigating them successfully. A strong support system also provides accountability, which can motivate action even when fear is present. Sharing goals and plans with trusted individuals encourages follow-through, reduces procrastination, and increases the likelihood of achieving objectives. Knowing that someone is rooting for you, monitoring your progress, or offering guidance creates a safety net, allowing you to take calculated risks without being immobilized by fear. It is important to recognize that confidence and support systems work synergistically. Confidence enables you to take action, while a supportive network provides reinforcement and perspective. Together, they create a feedback loop. As you act and experience incremental success, your confidence grows, which encourages more action. This, in turn, is bolstered by the support and encouragement of your network, making the process of facing challenges and overcoming fear more sustainable and effective. Finally, building confidence and leveraging a support system is an ongoing process. Life will continue to present new challenges, and fear may resurface in different forms. The goal is not to eliminate fear entirely, but to cultivate the internal and external resources that allow you to act despite it. By combining practice, reflection, celebration of achievements, mentorship, community support, and self-validation, you create a robust framework that reduces fear's power and enhances your ability to pursue meaningful goals. In conclusion, confidence and a supportive network are essential pillars in overcoming the fear of failure. Confidence grows through action, practice, and reflection, while a support system provides guidance, encouragement, and accountability. Together, they empower you to confront challenges, learn from setbacks, and pursue ambitious goals with courage and resilience. By investing in both your internal belief system and your external support structures, you create a sustainable foundation for success, where failure is no longer a threat, but a stepping stone toward growth, mastery, and fulfillment. Remember, the fear of failure will never completely disappear, but you can take control of it. Every time you try, every step you take forward, you are turning failure into strength and making your journey stronger than ever. Don't let fear hold you back. Take action, learn, and grow every single day. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe so you don't miss more tips on breaking your limits, and don't forget to comment and share your experiences with fear of failure. Let's overcome fear together and move toward success.